All right, welcome back, you guys. Today's topic is going to be what questions you should ask a loan officer. All right, you guys, welcome back to the blog. I have a guest with me here today. Thanks for coming today. This is Chris Pattison.
Thanks, Jenna, for having me.
Absolutely. All right, you guys, before we dig our heels in real quick, I just want to remind you about the links below. You can search properties. You can also get in there and see what your home evaluation would be currently. You can also have a cash offer on the table in 24 to 48 hours. All right, introductions next. This is Chris Pattison with First Choice Loan Services. He's been originating loans since 2006. He's a production manager here and loan originator. You actually won the 2016 5-Star Professional Award.
I did, thank you.
Congratulations. You guys, he is an amazing loan officer, always top par. Let's go ahead and get started, though. What questions do people need to be asking a loan officer when they're basically interviewing him?
Well, Jenna, that's a really great topic to cover in this video because, first of all, whenever you're making what might be your biggest purchase of your entire life, it's very important to be confident and comfortable with a professional and company who's walking you through the process.
Right.
So the very first question I would always ask a loan officer is, what company do you work for? The reason you ask this is, number one, to find out that they do work for a company, that they're legit, because they're not lending their own money. They're hopefully working for some sort of company. And you're going to be providing your personal information to this person. You want to make sure that it's a legit place. So the second thing I would want to ask is, is their company a mortgage broker or a mortgage banker?
Yeah.
There's a big difference between the two. Just kind of give you a brief explanation. As a mortgage broker usually acts as a third party to a transaction, more of a middleman to a transaction. But, they work with a lot of different lenders. So sometimes it's an advantage because they have multiple lenders or outlets to take loans to.
Right.
Now, a mortgage banker is more lending their money direct. They have a lot more control of a transaction, and transactions usually go smoother, faster, and a little better when you're working directly with the bank that's lending the money.
Right.
But a second part of that question that you would want to ask is, are their files underwritten, locally processed, closed, everything, in-house or locally? The reason why that's important, Jenna, just so you know, is because that's a telltale sign real quick of if they're a mortgage banker or broker. If everything's underwritten by a third party, then they're more likely a middleman to a transaction, and so they're not a mortgage banker, they're a mortgage broker. The second thing that you would want to know that about is, if their processing or underwriting's not in-house and their closing's not in-house, they could be, they may be doing loans in Texas, but their operations center may be in a complete other state or, all the way across the country. And that could cause a little bit of issues with a transaction too, just because of not being familiar with the area and, time differences and everything else. It could cause some problems throughout the process. Which leads me into the other thing is you also want to know your loan officer. Is your loan officer located locally, or is it, some national company where, a lot of times if you're working online with Quicken Loans or someplace like that, you may end up with a loan officer in Washington who's doing loans in Texas.
True.
And Jenna may have experience with this, but, sometimes that causes problems, because they're not familiar with the appraisers in the area. They don't know how title or survey works, property taxes. There's a lot to know about a local market, whenever you're doing loans or financing in a specific area. So that's another good piece of that question.
Okay.
The third thing fourth thing that you definitely want to ask is if they have a website or somewhere where you can go to look at some reviews or find out some information about their company or them. Because you want to find out, their history, more about the company, what the company's like, and what kind of reviews are out there about them, not just the loan officer, but also the company as well. So fifth, and probably the most important thing that you definitely should ask is, what kind of fees do the lenders charge? They could charge flat fees, they could charge percentages. They're charging percentages. Usually it's like a loan origination charge or a loan discount charge. And the reason why you want to ask about these fees is to find out if there's anything that's excessive or what they may consider junk fees that a lender's charging you. And if you feel uncomfortable with the fees, then you might want to go ahead and get a second opinion from someone else. So the sixth thing that a lot of people don't know about, and it's kind of this little secret in this business, not real, kind of sort of, is you can actually research a particular loan officer on NMLS, that's NMLS, consumeraccess.org. This is a website provided by the government where you can actually look up someone, by name You can type it in, search it, and it comes up. And if they're a loan originator, they have to be in that system. So if they're not in that system, don't use them. But in this system, you can find out their entire work history. You can find out how long they've been with a particular company. You can find out, where their company is located. And most importantly, if there's ever been any logged complaints, you're going to find it on that website.
Yeah.
So it's a really good website to check out and research, about your loan originator that you're talking to.
Awesome.
So Jenna, in closing, in today's mortgage market, it's changing every day. And as a buyer, it's very important to make sure you're working with someone who stays up to date with all these changes, who's someone who's experienced, knowledgeable, and most importantly, someone you can trust.
Absolutely.
So basically, Jenna, you want to work with somebody like me, right?
Yes, absolutely. Use Chris, everybody. Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much again. I know that was very useful information. So write this down, jot this down. You're going to want to use this information, and even more so, use Chris. All right. Have a great day. Make sure to post your questions and comments below, and we'll get back with you. Thanks so much.
Thank you.